أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Last class we have finished the era of verbs. Today we will see the third characteristics of a verb, that is negation and affirmation. So by default all the verbs are in the affirmative state. Then what is affirmation? The action has taken place. When the action has taken place, then it is known as affirmation. So such verbs are known as musbat verbs. When the action has taken place, so such verbs are known as musbat verbs. For example, Zaid ate. So the action of eating is being done. So such sentences are known as affirmative sentences, and affirmation verbs are known as musbat verbs. So in order to make a affirmative sentence into a negative sentence or into a negative verb, so there should be something added to this affirmative verb to make it into a negative verb. So that means the action did not take place. So something should be added to this affirmative verb to make it negative. So such verbs are known as manfi verbs. Okay, these verbs are known as manfi verbs. For example, Zaid did not eat. So something should be added before to this sentence to make it negative. Such verbs are known as manfi verbs. That is, for example, Zaid did not eat. So here, when a given verb is positive, so any given verb is positive by default. Okay, any given verb is positive by default. Then how to make it negative? A verb can be made negative by adding some negative particles before it. For example, if we take here Zahaba Zaidun means Zaid went. So in order to make it negative, by adding ma is a particle of negation. So when ma is added before this sentence, that is Zahaba Zaidun means Zaid went. Ma Zahaba Zaidun, Zaid did not go. Okay, ma Zahaba Zaidun, Zaid did not go. Zahaba Zaidun is a musbat sentence, that is affirmative sentence, and ma Zahaba Zaidun is a negative sentence. Usually ma is taken as a negative particle to negate something in the past. Okay, making madhi verb, that is a past tense verb negation, ma is added. Then how to make a failur mudari, that is the present tense and the future tense verb, into a negation. So we have got the following particles here, lam and lamma. Last time we have seen in the era of a verb, that is these are the particles of majzoom. That means when these particles come before a verb, so these particles will add a sukoon over the last letter of the verb in singular form, or these particles will drop the noon in noon forms. Okay, verb with noon forms. So in that these particles will drop the noon. So here when lam is been added, yazhabu zaidun. In yazhabu zaidun, meaning of it is Zaid is going or Zaid will go, because it carries two tenses, that is the present tense as well as the future tense. So here you can see dhamma, that is verb is in the marfu state. So when negation particle like lam or lamma is been added here, so it will make the verb into a majzoom state. So it is in the marfu state, it is made into majzoom state, that is lam yazhab zaidun means Zaid did not go, that is verb is in the majzoom state. So if you see here, lam and lamma, when comes before a verb, they causes majzoom, that we learn in era of a verb. So these are the negative particles. So when they come before a verb in singular forms like yaftahu, initially it was yaftahu by default marfu state. So when lam comes before it, so it will make it into sukoon, that is yaftah. Yaftahu means he opens. Yaftah, lam yaftah man, he did not open, or he is not opening, or he will not open. So when lam comes before yaftahu, then the last letter will receive a sukoon. When lam comes before a noon forms, if you see this dual noon form and plural noon forms, if you take, when lam comes before it or lamma comes before it, this noon will be dropping, and these forms will change into a majzoom state by dropping the noon, because lam and lamma coming before it. So noon forms, all noon forms, when lam comes before it, the noons will be dropping, and those singular forms which dhamma will receive a sukoon when lam and lamma comes before it. So these are the negation particles used for failul mudari. Ma is usually a negative particle which is used for failul mazi, that is the past tense. It can also be used for failul mudari for negating the failul mudari verb. That is yazhabu zaidun means Zaid is going or Zaid will go. So here the verb is in the marfu state. So dhamma you can see marfu state. So by negating it, ma is added. Ma yazhabu zaidun means Zaid does not go or Zaid is not going. So verb is in the marfu state. By adding ma, there is no change is there. So this particle do not cause any change in the i'rab of the verb. So these particles you can see ma. So no change in the i'rab of the verb. So here it is a negating particle. So ma is mostly used for negation of past tense verb. It is also used for negation of failul mudari verbs also. If you take la here, la is also a negation particle. Yazhabu zaidun. Yazhabu zaidun, Zaid is going or Zaid will go. So this is the affirmative sentence. In order to make it negative, la is added. La yazhabu zaidun. Zaid does not go or Zaid is not going or Zaid will not go. Verb is in the marfu state. Here you can see even if la comes, verb is in the initial in the marfu state, in the affirmative state, and it is also marfu in the negative state. So in this la is known as la an nafiya. There are two types of la. This la is la an nafiya, that it does not cause any change in the i'rab of a verb. But if this la is supposed to be la and nahiya, then this verb will cause this dhamma to change into a sukoon. So when this la does not cause any change in the i'rab of a verb, so this la is la and nafiya. That is in the affirmative state also it is in the marfu state. After adding la also it is in the marfu state. The verb is in the marfu state. If you take lan, yazhabu zaidun. Yazhabu zaidun, Zaid is going or Zaid will go. That is failul mudari. Its verb is in the marfu state. So how to negate it? Lan is been added. When lan is added, lan is an emphatic particle. It makes the verb into a mansub state. Okay, as we learn in era of a verb, lan causes the verb to change into a mansub state. So Zaid will not go, emphatic meaning here never. Zaid will never go. Okay, Zaid will never go, and this lan gives the meaning of negation in the future. This lan gives the meaning of negation in the future. So lan yazhaba zaidun. So here the verb is in the mansub state. Previously the verb is in the marfu state, that is dhamma you can see. Here the lan comes, the verb is in the mansub state. So here you can see ma and la. These are the negation particles. When they come before a failul madhi or a failul mudari, they cause negation. Initially they are in the affirmative state, that is they are in the positive state. They are made into negative state by adding ma or la before them. For example, if you take yaftahu means he opens or he will open or he is opening. So when la is added, la yaftahu means he does not open. Okay, la aftahu means I do not open. Aftahu means I open. La aftahu means I do not open. Taftahuna, you all open. When la is added, la taftahuna, you do not open. You all do not open. So here this noon is dropped in case of when this la is a la and nahiya, then this noon will be dropped. Since this la is there and noon is also is there, so this la should be a la and nafiya. So similarly here, when lan comes before a verb form, it will change into a mansub state for singular forms, and those forms which will having a noon forms, so in those forms this lan will drop the noon in the dual form and in the plural form. So these are the negation and affirmation of a verb. Inshallah, in the next class we will be seeing some of the examples from the Quran about negation and affirmation. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.